The thin line between prophecy and psychosis. Ladies and gentlemen, across history, every culture has wrestled with a question that is as old as human or consciousness itself. How do we tell the difference between a divine calling and a disturbing mental health crisis? Where is the line between prophecy, a message believed to come from a higher power, and psychosis, a break from reality often driven by stress, trauma, or illness? It is a question both ancient and modern, a question that affects people of faith, clinicians, families, and individuals who may be struggling silently with experiences they don't know how to explain. Today I want to speak honestly about that thin line, not to dismiss spirituality and not to diagnose someone from afar, but to build understanding, compassion, and clarity. Part 1. The Human History of Visions and Voices. Throughout history, people who reported visions are often treated as chosen messengers, prophets, saints, mystics. Moses heard a voice from a burning bush. Isaiah saw visions of heaven. Muhammad received revelations in a cave. St. Paul described hearing a divine voice on the road to Damascus. If these figures lived today, many might wonder, would they be celebrated or hospitalized? It's a question that makes people uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it matters. Spiritual experience is part of the human story, so is mental illness, and both can involve powerful inner experiences, visions, voices, urgent feelings of purpose, or profound insight. The challenge is not to label everything as sacred or dismiss everything as sickness. The challenge is to know the difference. Part 2. When spiritual experiences are healthy. Healthy spiritual experiences tend to share certain qualities. They are grounded in tradition. The experience fits within a religious or cultural framework the person already believes in. They bring peace, purpose, or humility. Even if the message is challenging, it does not provoke terror or chaos. They can be discussed openly. The person is able to reflect, question, and explore the experience with trusted people. They do not override free will. They inspire, but they do not force or command destructive behavior. They strengthen community. They draw people into connection, not isolation. In other words, healthy spirituality expands a person's life. Psychosis tends to trap it. Part 3. When experiences become concerning. Psychosis, on the other hand, has a different character, fear instead of peace. The person is terrified or overwhelmed, not illuminated. Rigid beliefs. The interpretation becomes fixed and non-negotiable. No discussion is allowed. Isolation. The person withdraws from others, believing only they understand the truth. Commands or threats. Voices may order dangerous behavior or suggest persecution. Loss of functioning. Work, relationships, hygiene, and daily life fall apart. Contradiction with the person's previous beliefs. Suddenly, without any spiritual background, they believe they are a prophet, messiah, or chosen one. A key distinction is this. Spiritual experiences tend to integrate a person's life. Psychosis tends to disintegrate it. Part 4. The gray area, where confusion happens. Of course, not every experience fits neatly into one category. There is a gray zone, and this is where most people struggle. A person may hear an inner voice that comforts them. Is that intuition, spirit, trauma, imagination, something else? Someone may feel called toward a mission or purpose. Is that inspiration, mania, religious awakening? The truth is, the mind is complex, and so is the soul. Trauma can create spiritual-like sensations. Religious devotion can create emotional intensity. Mental illness can distort spiritual ideas. Spiritual experiences can be misdiagnosed as symptoms. This is why context matters. This is why history matters. This is why impact on functioning matters. A single symptom doesn't tell the whole story. A person's life pattern does. Why people deserve compassion, not shame. One thing must be said clearly. A person experiencing psychosis is not immoral, sinful, or weak. They are suffering, not failing. And a person having spiritual experience is not crazy, delusional, or irrational. They are human, not broken. The goal is never to ridicule someone's faith or to push a diagnosis onto their beliefs. The goal is to understand the person behind the experience. Mental health professionals and religious communities should not be enemies. When they work together, people get the support they need, emotionally, spiritually, and medically. Part 6. Questions that help us discern the difference. Here are questions both clinicians and faith leaders can ask. Does the experience bring peace or fear? Does it align with the person's existing beliefs or appear suddenly and dramatically? Does it help them function or does it disrupt their life? Is the person open to guidance or are they rigid and unreachable? Is there trauma, sleep loss, mania, or stress that could explain the experience? Does the message encourage compassion or dangerous behavior? These questions don't give perfect answers, but they give clarity. Part 7. The importance of safety and support. If someone believes they are receiving divine messages that command harm, instill paranoia, isolate them, or lead to self-destruction, and regardless of the spiritual framework, they deserve immediate care and protection. At the same time, people with strong spiritual lives deserve respect, not dismissal, when they describe meaningful inner experiences. Mental health and spirituality don't contradict each other. They are two languages trying to describe the same inner world. Part 8. Conclusion. Holding two truths at once. So what is the thin line between prophecy and psychosis? It is the line between inspiration and terror, between connection and isolation, between growth and collapse, between meaning and confusion. And often the only way to understand that line is to walk with someone compassionately, not to shame them, not to silence them, but to accompany them until clarity emerges. Whether someone is experiencing the sacred or the psychological, they deserve patience, love, respect, and help. The human mind and the human spirit are both mysterious, and both belong to the story of what it means to be alive. Thank you.